Be ready. 15 seconds to go. 5 seconds to go. Mr. Deputy Chairman, sir, the Honorable Minister for Urban Development laid a statement on the table of the House that day concerning the progress made in the construction of industrial housing by the state governments, by the employers, and by the cooperatives of the industrial workers. Even in the supplementaries that I put to the Honorable Minister that day, and also in the discussion that I am going to raise today, the points that I wish to make out and make out very sharply are that the Housing Ministers Conference held at Bangalore in October 1987 was seized of the entire delay that is there in the construction of industrial houses. The conference was also seized of the fact that the question of cooperatives of the industrial workers coming into existence is also being hampered because certain legislative measures that government should take are not being taken by them. It was also brought to the notice of the government and to the notice of the Housing Ministers Conference at Bangalore in October 1987 that the employers were not taking this matter seriously, and it was also suggested at that conference that even decisions have been taken to bring about certain legislations in the country to force the employers to come forward with the construction of houses. Sir, at the 16th Indian Labour Conference, this subject was discussed at length by the employers, the employees, and the government representatives who attended that conference. It was at the 15th Indian Labour Conference that the employers agreed that houses might be constructed by them, but when it came to the 16th conference, the employers cleanly escaped their responsibility. The 16th Indian Labour Conference was held after the Housing Ministers' Conference in Bangalore, when the Housing Ministers' Conference itself had come to certain conclusions that legislative measures would be necessary in order to force the employers to construct the houses. When the Labour Ministers' Conference this year also came to the conclusion that legislative measures would be necessary, that certain coercive measures would be necessary in order to force the employers to construct the houses. The National Housing Construction Bill that was suggested and contemplated at the Bangalore conference is not yet even under the consideration of the government. Sir, mere decisions by the government will not come to the rescue of the houseless employees. Madam, it is not yet one full year since our railway minister assumed charge of his office. But even during this short period, he has not only been able to keep up the tempo of improvement initiated by his two illustrious predecessors, but he has added considerably to their splendid record. A large volume of literature is normally circulated to members of parliament along with the budget every year. The railway ministry appears to have taken considerable pains this time to bring each and every aspect of railway administration prominently to light. This has necessitated the preparation and distribution of more papers this year. A thorough study of these papers brings to our mind a clear picture of the position of our railways as it was in the past, as it is in the present, and as it is proposed to be developed in the years to come. The most redeeming feature of the budget for the next year is that it contains no proposal for the enhancement of passenger fares, even though additional resources to the tune of rupees 50 crores have been sought to be raised next year. The last increase in the passenger fares took effect from July 1962. The program of planned development of the country, including the program of expansion and development of the railways, needed huge resources. Added to this, the emergency due to the Chinese incursion came before the year was out. It was therefore natural to expect that next year's taxation proposals might include enhancement of passenger fares. The railway minister deserves the thanks and gratitude of the general travelling public of the country that he has spared them from this burden. A small increase in the goods and parcel traffic rate has, however, been proposed, and this will undoubtedly cause some hardship to the people. The railway minister has, however, elaborately explained in this budget speech that the effect of this increase will not fall heavily on the railway users. In that view of the matter, I venture to think that people will not mind this additional burden to strengthen the railway's financial position and thereby make a definite contribution to the general exchequer and assist in the ways and means position of the general revenues. The exemption from the proposed levy of a surcharge on parcel traffic granted to vegetables, milk, and newspapers will be welcomed. Another happy and admirable feature of the railway budget is an appreciable increase of the depreciation reserve fund and the development fund. The two funds together constitute what may be called the two lungs of the railway finance, and in that view of the matter, a rise in these two funds will be welcome. Increase of the annual dividend payable to the general revenues on the railways capital at charge is a step in the right direction. I would, however, venture to think that the next railway convention committee, which is going to be set up in the year 1965, will see its way to recommend an increase of this dividend to 6%, keeping in view the general rise in the borrowing power of the central government. The additional contribution that will come from this increase of the dividend will amount only to rupees 4 crores. The budget speech also contains a fairly comprehensive and exhaustive assessment of the railway's performances during the last several years, from which it is quite clear that the railways have not only succeeded in implementing the targets fixed for the first and the second plans, but will also fulfill the targets fixed for the third plan.